Hi, welcome to the Wellbeing Whizz Omnicast, episode 14. I'm Bevan Thompson, also known as the Wellbeing Whizz. And as I say most weeks, what is the Omnicast all about? Well, I'm a coach who helps people with anxiety, and I like to bring you different views and tips and hints every week about how to manage your anxiety, how to help yourself out of anxiety, because I used to suffer very badly myself. About 10 years ago now, I suffered very badly from anxiety. I went through all the usual treatments. I tried hypnotherapy, I tried tablets, I tried all sorts of things to stop the terrible, terrible crushing anxiety I was suffering. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do things. I was hiding it really well, but really inside I was suffering. I didn't want to meet up with people. I didn't want to do anything I really enjoyed. And it was sort of taking my life away. What I did was I became a student of my own anxiety. I learned how to manage it, what it was all about. I learned a lot about the brain, a lot about how your mind works. And I managed to sort of rid myself of those thoughts and emotions and sort of turn my life around. What I've done, I've turned that into a framework where I help other people. I've become a coach. I've become the Wellbeing Whizz. And the idea is to help other people learn to manage their anxiety as well. The Omnicast is a place where we can sort of bring these ideas out, share them. And this month, we're looking at interviews with people. And this month in particular is Fierce Female February. It's all about fierce women coming on and talking about their anxiety, what they do, coaches, guides, teachers, people like that, who can help you manage your own anxiety. And so here's today's episode. Hope you enjoy it. Hi there and welcome to the Wellbeing Whizz Omnicast episode number 14. Now, it's a very exciting month this month. It's Fierce Female February. What we're going to do is have special guests on all the way through the month of February. Really strong, interesting women with a great story to tell. And today we've got our first guest. My first guest today is someone I've got a lot of time for. She's my personal coach and a very close friend of mine. And her name is Manuela van der Horst, and she's over there in lovely Aruba. Hi, Manuela. How are you?
Good morning for me, Bevan Thompson. Good morning from Aruba. I wish I could say it's a sunny Aruba, but not yet. Maybe it's too early.
It still looks sunnier than here, to be honest. Where you are, it looks very nice.
Oh yes, it's a beautiful place to be right now, and maybe even better than.
Oh, look at that! Wow, it's a shame people listening to it can't see that. There's a beautiful harbour there with like boats. It's lovely. So people who get the video version of this can enjoy the view, but the people with the listening will have to do with my audio version. So, yes. Manuela, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us about what you do.
Well, I'm originally a speech therapist, and I specialize in how to perform at your peak, at your best, and how to use your voice, that it backs you up, that it gives you confidence. And I'm in a transition now because due to the whole stuff last year. I was stuck here in Aruba, and I couldn't go to Holland. I've always been a psychic person, and then my spirit guide really started to communicate with me to feel better, and wasn't a special day, but that made me realize I'm on a new mission to put as many people in contact with their own guides so they feel less lonely, they feel more clarity, they feel more confidence to do what they want to do. So I'm in that transition now. So what I do right now is, let's say, elevator pitch like trainings, and let people connect with their guides and find information that they can use.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So we'll talk about that again in a little minute, but you obviously know that the podcast and what I do is mainly about anxiety and about people suffering from panic.
Very
and things like
important.
That.
Yes.
Well, especially at the moment with the world being as strange as it is. Have you ever suffered from anxiety yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yes. Very
surprisingly big cheerful face there. It always seems the same. People who have suffered have always got that sort of nice happy exterior.
Yes, that's always the outside. I also told my kids, you never know what's under the iceberg, and let's say the iceberg is in our head or what's going on. In 2014, I decided to partly change my profession. I became a train manager. And while being educated as a train manager, one day I was going through the train, and then at first class, there was a guy sitting who to me shouldn't be there. And I asked him, hey, and he had his feet on the chair in front of him, which is not
terrible
allowed.
manners.
So
my word,
hey, sir,
awful.
Good morning. oh, hello, good morning. He didn't react. It was like a zombie, like this. And then I looked him in the eyes, which I'd learned in class, and I looked into his eyes, and it was like a beam of rage, aggressiveness. I tried as quick as possible to turn around and run away, but it was already too late. He jumped up. I was his kickbox ball. He started to kick me, hit me everywhere. I remember me sitting on the ground. But the people did something. The people in the train. There was an 82-year-old man who jumped in front of him, also got hit. There was a
Oh my God.
student guy of 20 years who tried to hold him. There were people calling the police, and then he also hit my colleague really bad and knocked her out. So that was a big
Wow.
change
A
that
big
day.
traumatic experience. So that kind
Yes,
of.
and then
And so, what was he? Did he just
yes,
like attack you for no reason, just because you said get your feet off the chair? Or
I just said hello, sir, and I looked him in the eyes. That was for him the sign
wow.
to. Later on, I could tell I disturbed his peace.
Yeah, but still.
Yes, it was horrible. But
Crikey,
the
sorry
good
to hear
thing
that.
was, it made me realize I'm a big believer that life sends you signs when you're going too fast and you don't want to look. And this was really the moment for me to pause and think, what the heck do you want to do with your life, Manuela? You're so focused on maybe things that not that important. But I was really afraid. And because I'm a vocal coach, I'm very good in discovering why there's a voice problem. And a voice problem is never alone. There's also psychological problem most of the time. So I've worked with many people who had trauma. So I knew I had to do something. My husband came instantly from work. My team manager also was there almost instantly. But I knew that I had to do that same train track as soon as possible. So
Well,
I
yeah,
felt
because you'd
like I
be
had.
replaying it over and over in your mind when you got in the train, I guess. Every time you got on board a train.
I missed a piece.
Yeah, I was
There
just
was
saying it
a.
would
I
be.
was bugged.
It would that trauma would make you sort of think about it every time you got on a train. Otherwise, and it was your job to get on a train.
Yes, yes, and but because this was I've benefited from because I'm a vocal coach for now 28 years. I know that as soon as something like that happens, as quick as possible, you have to break it. So although I felt like I had a brain concussion, my shoulder, I couldn't for months, I couldn't do this because of the injury. But
Oh
I,
God.
I, I immediately decided that I wanted the next day to do the same track to break it, because otherwise, over the days, my fear would get worse and worse. So the next day, I went there
Mm-hmm.
to do the same track. And what was bothering me the most were these eyes. The moment that he looked in my eyes and I felt frozen. And for some reason I kept repeating that in my head. And the Dutch Rail Track, they provide really good help.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a psychologist, and they in Dutch they call it MSDR, I think. So you have to look at your finger, and they do like this, so you have to follow it, and then you
Uh-huh.
have to think about it. And then after a few minutes, they ask you, okay, on a level to 0 to 10, how much fear do you still feel? And in the beginning, it was like that man was here right in my face.
Mm-hmm.
But it helped me a lot, and I had nightmares, and then that about this guy
Well, it
tracking
would do,
me.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
but I also knew that this was a wake up call. So I'm a big believer in when you have a big bowl of lemons, how to make lemonade. And it took me a while. Of course, it took me a while. It's not that, the next day I was so happy. No, that's not how it worked. But now the beautiful thing here was what I teach other people. In some way, I subscribe for my own course.
Yeah. So the way you got over it then was like I suggest to a lot of people, you immersed yourself in that fear straight away. You
Yes.
chose not to let it define you as such. You chose not to let the train become a symbol of fear. And then
No, and I love the train.
so
Sorry.
yes, yeah, no, that's great. No, so you were quite you didn't want to lose that love for the train either, which was important.
No, I love, and this was the funny thing too. Before I became train manager, I always traveled by train because I didn't want to have a car, and I still prefer the train.
So it was like, yeah, because it could have taken away your ability to travel, your ability to work, and you kind of made that conscious decision. I know it's very hard for some people who have a trauma like that to get out of it, but you've showed a very sort of positive way there. You've said, no, this isn't going to change my life. I'm not going to be defined by this. I'm not going to make it a belief. I'm not going to. And yeah, you were still worried about it and scared about it happening. But I
Oh,
like that. You're a good
very.
example. You're a good example of how that choice can be made.
Yeah, but right now when people listen to this, they think, oh, I want to encourage people because of course when I did that trek and we were approaching that station, it was like diarrhea was running down my legs. I was so scared, and I knew there I wasn't alone. But when you listen to this podcast, you might think, oh, she just did it. Is there something wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with you. Now it's for me, it's almost 6 years ago, but at that time I wanted to flee, I wanted to go away. Nobody could see that because I tended to be really calm, but on the inside I was really scared, although my brain knew I'm here with my team manager, I'm safe, and still that fear was there.
This is what I've been talking to a lot of people about, actually, this kind of the fear of the fear. It's like the current danger is not there, but the memory of the danger is there. Your body then reacts like there is a true danger there. You notice that, and then that creates a fear of the fear that just keeps building forever and ever. And
Yeah.
you were even doing the right things that I tell people. You're telling your mind, I'm safe. My train managers here. My fellow train managers are here. There's other people on the train. I'm not going to get hurt. But still, your body keeps those memories in your subconscious and triggers that reaction.
Yeah. So it's very important to release those traumatic memories from the body and from the brain and from your spirit, because it can also jump on previous lives or other traumatic stuff. So this was really, it was such an interesting course. And when you listen to it, you might think, oh, she just did it like snap with her fingers like that. And of course, that wasn't. But what I really want to encourage people, and not to stay alone with this, share your fear, talk about it, not to keep it, but to find a way out.
It's that if you share it with someone, like I always say to people, you get that third party perspective on it, where someone can sit outside of the fear and outside of the worry and sort of say, oh, it wasn't your fault. It doesn't mean you're this kind of person. Those kind of opinions that can build up into beliefs and make you think, oh, it's going to happen again and again. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You looked at the wrong guy at the wrong time. If you boil it down to the
Yeah.
facts, it wasn't anything
Yes.
to do with
Yes.
Manuela. It was to do with that guy's problems. And you just so happened to be, like you say, the punch bag that was in the way at the time.
Yes, and that's completely correct, because and the good thing was I was very lucky, because there were also incidents on the train that nobody wants to help, and here there was police, and there were 6 people were needed to take him down, and 3 times he got pepper sprayed, and the first
Wow.
agent, police officer who was talking to him, he punched him in the face and broke his nose. So this was really a person, you couldn't talk to him.
So you can see
And
how
the good
that
thing,
would build a trauma. You can see how that would build a lasting anxiety about doing your job.
yes, I can imagine. Don't ask me where I got the strength from, Bevan. I just don't know, but I had a feeling like instantly, this is a wake up call. What did I miss? What signs did I miss? And then I had to borrow it down. And what I also want to say, what's really important, the people you share it with, your fear, should be people you really trust. So you can take a little paper of 3 centimeters and write down 3 names of people from which you're sure in your gut feeling who you can trust and who are able to listen to you, non-judgmental.
That's a great tip. Oh my word, I like that. So you're sort of saying get your 3 very best people in your mind already, so that if anything ever does happen to you or anything that you're anxious about, you can go to your squad of 3, if you like, and get their notice, get their feedback on it.
Yeah.
Wow,
They
that's
are
cool.
your living safe place. And for me, it was my husband. He was so non-judgmental, and I had to cry many times when the fear came up or I felt shaking. He said, let it out. Let it out. Your body wants to release it. It's really good, and it makes me emotional because he is really my superhero. He is. He
Aha,
said,
that's
let it out
awesome.
of your body. If you want to scream, scream. If you want to punch, punch. Take a pillow and squeeze. And if you want to box, do it. Release this fear from your body, because that's really important.
And again, that's something I've been talking about. That fight or flight response is triggered with this anxiety. And actually, you either screaming, punching a pillow, getting a bit of energy out, it's taking that valve off, and the energy that's built up with the anxiety is getting let off. And so you feel instantly better. You feel like they had that release that your body needs, because your body's getting into a way to fight someone or run away. You're getting that release by shouting, screaming, running around, dancing, whatever you need to do to get the energy out.
I'm very happy that you summarized this, because there's an important thing. I was so freaking angry about this guy. I was so angry, but I also didn't want him to take over. And I knew I didn't want to put energy in it, but still that anger was there.
Yeah.
And it was so big, like it almost could eat me. So I really had to give myself permission to express these feelings, because I was brought up, when you're angry, you lose control about yourself. So I suppressed it. That was my instant reaction. I suppressed my anger. And then there was Peter who said, you shouldn't suppress this. Because it will eat you. And at first, of course, I said, no. But he was right. And why I share it with you is, give yourself permission in a safe way to lose that anger. Take a paper and tear it, or stand on your place and really put your feet down in a way that you want to dig a big hole.
Like stamping.
Take
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bottle. Yeah, take a bottle with a straw and scream in that bottle all the cursing you want to curse to that guy. And that's what I did. I cursed. Well, I'm not going to repeat all
Family show and all that. But no, you're right. It's letting that. And also, this is something I teach people a lot, is feel the emotion from start to finish. If you push back against the emotions, all you're doing is building this wall that sooner or later the emotions are going to come crushing through. It's like trying to hold back the sea. There's no way you can do it. You're best to feel the emotion at the time fully from start to finish and let it through. And this is what a lot of people with anxiety are suffering from. They're trying not to feel the emotion. They're pushing back against it. And it just builds
your
up.
best tip, actually? Because for example, frustration to me is a very difficult emotion to feel and to allow myself to feel. Mm-hmm. And so what is your tip about that?
I always work on that thoughts create emotions. So what thoughts are creating that emotion? Find out where the thoughts about frustration are coming from. If they're rational, if the thoughts are fine, if you're frustrated for a good reason, then you can pay attention to them. Let the emotion of frustration come through. What I tell people is sit with it, allow yourself it. Don't beat yourself up for feeling an emotion. This is what we're designed for. And I would say also, name it. Say, look, this is frustration. It feels like this. Mention the physical sensations. I don't know. For me, frustration sort of wells up inside. It feels kind of hot and bubbly until I get a little bit angry. And just feel it and let it through. Say that was frustration. And the quicker you feel it, the quicker it goes.
The way you say it, yeah, I get it, and I agree. And still
it's there.
Often, still often it's it's more to because you get to realize how you're educated and how you're brought up. To every time I have to remind myself it's okay to feel this, so I have to be my own coach in it, because I don't know for what reason I adopted the belief that frustration is a waste of energy. So right now I'm still learning that, to sit with my emotions, and I do it consciously. And it's right what you say, and such a
I think
relief. And again,
that's the big secret. It is doing it consciously. I think people feel
yeah,
emotions in a very unconscious way, and as soon as you start to feel conscious about, as soon as you're conscious and aware in your thought, you can become conscious aware in your emotions, and then all of a sudden you're conscious aware in the actions you're taking, and then you're getting the results you want. It's that awareness that leads to acceptance, that leads to change. And that's how I teach people from day one. It's like, become aware of what thoughts are creating what emotions are being created by what unhelpful thoughts, and what actions are being created by your emotions, because the results come from that. They come from your thoughts. So, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
let's
And
move
what
on
I like
a little
also,
bit to something a bit more cheerful, actually. Oh, sorry, I interfered with you there. Sorry, go on, carry on.
well, that's what I love when we work together as well. That you remind me of the whole process that can chunk down everything that's going on. So that's a good reminder. I love that. Okay, let's jump on another topic.
But beautifully, you segued there by talking about us working together. Manuela, people who are listening and watching, Manuela's very much my coach. She has helped me so much with a lot of things, understanding my more spiritual side, teaching me to slow down, which is helping me slow down my thoughts. And so what would you say your process is to helping your clients lead a happier and more healthy life mentally? And what's like your Manuela's secret sauce that you put on top of your coaching?
It sounds like I know what I'm going to say. Start with deciding that you want to like yourself more, that you want to become your biggest fan with all your quirky, strange things. That would be my first tip.
So that's the
And
first part of your
second
process. Start
is,
to accept yourself a bit more and like you for who you are.
yeah, but that's just a word. But the word that comes with it, it sounds easy. Just accept yourself. That's about it. A lot of people think, I'm not going to show my finger, but everybody knows. Yes, and how do I do that? And you do it step by step. I start releasing what you think that you have to be. And it takes time. It takes time, and allow yourself the time. And especially now these days, and all these social media wants you to believe. For example, next year I will turn 50. I love to turn 50. I'm so happy to turn 50. And the way I look, and I like the wrinkles that I'm getting. But the media wants us to believe, especially women, that we should look cheerful and young. What a BS. So going back to the process, it's a journey to accept yourself and to slow down. It's so important to slow down. And I always compare it with a highway. Driving on the highway, you can't see the flowers that are next to the highway. You really have to slow down and train your brain to be in another speed, to be able, like we did. I don't want to know how much you want to share about the work we did together, to be able to pick up the subtle signs, because to me it's always clear that I was very psychic. I hear things in the voice that people don't tell me. I just know it because I sense it, I see it, I feel it. And especially when I'm connecting other people with their guides, it's not that they will knock on your head, hey, hello, I'm here. No, those are the subtle those are the subtle signs. And you have to slow down. I say, empty your mailbox, because when the mailbox is full, how are you going to recognize that there's new mail in your mailbox?
It's 100% true. Exactly what you taught me was I'm a very manic, fast thinking kind of person. And teaching me things like grounding and slowing down and putting more, it's these inspirations are coming a lot more clearer, and messages, like you say, are coming a lot clearer. And I'm thinking things through more, and it helps with anxious thoughts, it helps with anything you've got. Just slowing down is so important, because you can easily get carried away with the minute details that you're obsessing on. And like you say, you could be missing something beautiful, you could be missing something pretty special,
Yeah.
like the flowers on the highway, you know.
And starting it with my profession as a vocal coach and speech therapist, emotion is often created by emotion. So when you feel frustration and you can get out, then walk to the toilet, move in a different way to break your state. But when you look at speaking the way we talk, it's automatic pilot. But there are certain things you can do to slow down, like putting a hand on your head and really sink in your body. Really feel how your butt is sitting on your chair. That's very, very important, because a lot of people live from here and up. They don't have to buy a ticket to go to the moon because they've been there already.
That's the best thing you taught me, was sitting there with my hand on my head. I could just feel my thoughts are more, they're staying here. It must be, I don't know what causes it, but with me in particular, I just feel like I'm keeping control of my brain. It's not flying off all over the place, coming up with crazy new thoughts. I'm there, I'm present, and I'm concentrating on what's going through my mind there and then. And it's the best, I would say the best thing you taught me was to ground myself. It's incredible. So maybe we'll teach people that at the end of this. That would be a good thing to teach people, actually.
Well, maybe we should set up something together. And I'm really proud of you, because we had kind of a challenge. You can always say if you don't want me to share, because
No, share
we
anything.
connected
I don't
through
mind.
we connected through the wellpreneur Amanda Cook's wellpreneur. I don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah, like the
their name.
Facebook group or whatever. Yeah.
Facebook group. I was looking for that word. Thank you. Facebook group. And I promised you, when you signed up for the course, meet your guides and talk with your guides yourself. When you signed up for my course, then you couldn't believe that it was doable for you to learn it in 5 days, in 5 straight days.
Not at all. And it's been amazing. I've been blown away by it. It's opened up a whole new world of ideas and inspiration and support and all these things that I'm not advertising, but I would suggest that anyone who is slightly interested in meeting their guides, learning about their spirit guides, learning more about their spirituality, needs to get in touch with Manuela, because it blew my mind. And I've taken a lot of new hobbies from it. I've started reading runes. I've started looking into Norse mythology, because a lot of my guides are Vikings, and that's now a new hobby that I'm interested in, learning about history and their sort of religion and life. And yeah, so it's opened up loads of things for me. So it's been brilliant. It's been really cool. So what's one thing?
Going back
Actually,
to slow down when you talk, the easy. Yeah, one easy thing to do, because when you want to slow down, you have to do it in a conscious way. It's like being mindfulness, but it's to me, I don't want to insult anybody. A little bit of a chewed out word. Oh, you have to be mindful. Yeah, and tell me, what is mindful? Mindful is actually nothing more than focusing on something that clears your mind. Can be done while you cook, can be done while you're under the shower, can be done while you're just daydreaming away. And with talking, it's easy to be mindful when you pronounce in an exaggerated way. I learned to talk like this. I've always done it. So, but for example, when somebody calls you, you can pick up the phone and consciously start saying hello or hi. Just start with easy peasy things you say a lot of times during the day. Just one word. And the second can be, when you walk from the toilet, then consciously put your awareness to your feet. Now I'm walking with my right foot. Now I walk with my left. Do I feel my heel? I feel my left heel. I feel my right heel. And you will find days that you don't think about it, which is not a problem at all. And then the next day you start again. And that's what I teach people and myself daily. How can I be my best friend and not beating myself up?
That's the mindful thing's interesting, because when people talk about mindfulness, like you say, this sort of chewed out idea of a guru sat on a mountain clearing his mind completely and be like all zen and all that. You, like you say, you can be mindful in so many different ways, and people, I think people are turned off by it, by the fact that they think they've got to become this kind of almost guru, like I say, like the big yogi or something, when actually, like you say, you can be mindful while cooking, you can be mindful while humming to yourself, as long as you're concentrating on one thing and not drifting. This was me learning to meditate. It was, I always thought I had to clear my mind, and saying that to someone who's got anxiety, clear your mind, it's like you're joking.
Yeah, you can't do, no, it eats. And you say a very important thing, that in the beginning, it's a 10 or an A. I don't know what you describe it in English. It's an A when you already become aware. Now I'm doing this. Oh, wow. I didn't know I was doing that. That's the beginning. And also with the mindfulness thing, you're already really, really trained. It can be a hobby. Look at your hobbies. Look at your dog or your cat or whatever. When you hug it, it seems like time stands still. And those are the mindfulness moments that you can look forward to and do them on purpose. Especially when you suffer from anxiety. And I don't know, to me, when I have to write a new course, I don't have any inspiration. In Holland, when I was living there, I went to the supermarket. By looking at all these beautiful products, I could empty my head, and then the most wonderful ideas pop up. It was my recipe.
This is why they have a mantra when you meditate. It's like it's not about being completely blank. It's about pure focus on one thing. Like you say, being in the supermarket, the focus on that then opens up everything else around it. So the ideas can come flowing in. And this is the bit I used to get wrong. This is why I couldn't meditate or be mindful, because I thought I had to be completely blank, like white sheet of paper, and it's not possible.
And again, there's some things especially with anxiety, because really take the time to go there to that, let's call that the cave. And when you enter the cave, it's black and dirty. A lot of, I want to go back there for a moment, because there is that overwhelm, and that overwhelm can eat you. And really go step by step, take little steps to get out of your anxiety. Because when it's a trained behavior, like it also became for me, you have to untrain. It takes time. When I look back, it almost took me half a year with conscious focus daily to work on that. Did I feel like it every day? Mm-mm.
But it's that retraining the neural pathways in your brain, retraining those kind of things, that's what it's all about. It's about retraining your brain to do it a different way, and learning a different.
I have another system is being activated when you sing, and you don't have to sing to do audition for The Voice. No, everybody can sing, even when you sing out of key. But you can also do you call it humming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that calms down the parasympathetic nerve. It's so cool to realize that we all have our favorite songs. So when you feel very anxious, make sure that you get that playlist. Maybe you can't listen instantly, but maybe you can train your brain to go there to that moment. Oh, I love that song. And then you really start to hear it and feel it.
And it is all subconscious programming. Okay, I want to ask you a question. What's the most common myth, the most common misconception about people like yourself, people who are spiritual coaches, people who talk to guides, that you'd like people to stop doing, to dispel the myth and make it not true?
Oh, that is available all the time. When I started to share with people, oh, I hear so many things in your voice. I can read voices. And they say, oh, what does my voice reveal? And they forget that you have to go to another vibration to be able to do it. And it's not that you're there 24/7. It's not there, especially spirituality. It's changing now how people look at it. So my body, the way we look at it, is changing, and that's really cool. But it's not that you're there all the time. No, life's happening now, here in my body, on Earth. So that you're kind of a woo-woo person. That's I think the biggest myth.
I love that when it's almost like going up to a magician and saying, "Do me a trick," or going to a comedian and saying, "Tell me a joke." It's like you should be doing it all the time, and it's like you have to
like it's a circus act.
Yeah, and you have to get yourself in the right frame of mind to be working. You know, it is like saying to someone I don't know who's a painter, like, "Hi, what do you do? I'm a painter. Oh, paint me that wall right now."
Yeah. Exactly. And there's also another myth that you have to be special. Everybody has a guide, even when you don't contact him or her. Everybody has it. Everybody is spiritual. You don't have to be, there's not a certain age that it will be revealed. It's for everybody. No, everybody is included.
I like that because there is a lot of money being made out of people saying, I'm special, you're not special. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of frustration, I've talked to you about this before, a lot of frustration about finding more about spirituality, finding more about sort of communicating with your guides. There's a lot of money to be made charging people sort of thing, but there's also a lot of money to be made for these people to get famous. And I'm special, I'm magic, you're not magic. Do you know what I mean? That kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And the frustration can come if you believe that, and if you believe that. And this is probably the point I'm making myself, actually. You give yourself a limiting belief that you can't do it. All of a sudden, you can't do it.
Or that you're not special enough.
Yeah. And
Rocket, sorry. That it's not for everybody, that you have to do certain things before you can enter this unseen world. And that's just not true. Of course, you have to be careful and not invite energies that you don't want. But we all know when we're on a higher vibration. And for example, what's a higher vibration? When we're really happy, when we're enjoying ourselves, that's a change of vibration. And that makes you more, I don't have a better word right now than vulnerable, to be able to read these signs. And expectation. Expect them. And expect yourself to see them, and not by focusing, oh, no.
That's a mistake I made, I think. I wanted to be able to do something like that so desperately that I was concentrating on it, and just all I was doing was just climbing up and being like tight, like a sort of ball.
I remember when you first started to receive the messages from your guides, that you were like, oh, but it's like being on the telephone with somebody or drinking coffee. It's actually pretty easy. And I remember your face. Like, huh? And it goes quick. Yes, it goes quick. Because 90% of the time, we do things on automatic pilot. Maybe 1 hour a day, we're really behaving in a very conscious way. And then an hour is already long.
Yeah, it's
did I
something
answer
I've really.
Your question?
Yeah, no, totally did. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Who would you say are the 3 people that have helped you in your career so far, up to today? You can have 3, you can have 1, you can have 2. You don't have to have 3, but someone that sort of inspired you or helped you.
For many years, Esther Jacobs, the no excuse lady, she encouraged me already for 20 years to do the work I started to do last year. My husband,
Uh-huh.
my kids, and Carola, another friend in Holland. And there are
That's
many, many more. But these people I name right now were at the beginning my most encouraging, inspiring mentor, and still Peter is one. I just want you to be you. Don't worry about anything else.
See, that's lovely, isn't it? If you've got someone in your corner that is encouraging you to be you. And actually, we've got a lady coming on in a few weeks who is all about that as well. So that's another good conversation for today. But to have someone who's just encouraging you just to be you is the best thing you can ask for. It really is, because that's the best brand in the world. Is you. You're honest. You're open.
Yeah, and
you're not lying. You're being true to the world and true to what you want to do, and that's really cool.
that's true. And what I also like is that a lot of things you do, I don't understand, I don't get it, but I don't mind. I just want to support you. And there was slipping something through my head when I, going back to that anxiety moment in 2015, it made me write down, what do you really want to do in your life? And one of the things I wanted to do was sing more, live for a certain time on Aruba, which I'm doing right now. Took me almost 2 years to prepare that. So a lot of beautiful things came out of this traumatic experience.
And that's it. And this is what I try and teach people. There are positives in everything. You know, if you told it depends how you tell the story. It's how you tell the story of your life. You tell me the story, this guy had a train, I was a train manager, started hitting me, blah, blah, blah. That's a dark story. It's a sad story. However, this guy hit me on a train, and it made me change the way I look at things. It made me appreciate how supportive my husband was. It made me appreciate this, and this. All of a sudden, the power goes away from the guy who hit you. It comes to you. And I spend
Yes, I didn't want to pay attention. Yeah.
You didn't give him the power
And
to
there's also
change
something
you.
else. No. And a cool thing also, Bevan, is when you go through your anxiety, you learn also to process pain. That's not a goal, but you learn to unravel your recipe. What do I do? Oh, actually, it's pain. How do I process pain? Did you learn it while you were little? I didn't.
No.
But I learned it going through my anxiety, how to write a recipe to deal with pain.
That's profound. I like that.
And it's also not something that's taught in school. It should be, because when with every relationship we have, we will experience pain.
That's so true. And it's about how you process that pain, how you decide that pain, who it makes you, what it makes the situation mean, what it makes it. I can't, like you say, I can't believe in schools that they don't teach more about emotions, because they're 100% part of our life. And it's all too clinical and practical, and there's not enough coming from the heart, really. And that's a really interesting point to raise, actually. I like that. Now then,
and what
next
I
question.
Like about
Oh, sorry.
the topic
Sorry,
that
we
you,
keep
I
because of
wanted
the
to
distance.
say what I
Go on, far away.
Well, what's also included in everybody's life is we're born, we die, and experiencing anxiety. It's a normal thing in daily life, and you have different degrees. You can't be happy all the time. It's just not possible. How can you know that you're happy when you don't know what it is to be unhappy? So embracing this black and white, day and night, full and empty, sunshine and rain, it brings such freedom to embrace that.
That is incredible. I'm having that on a t-shirt. But no, it's what I tell it's what I tell people is like, this is what you've signed up for. As being a human being, you've signed up for this end and that end, the good and the bad. Anxiety is an emotion the same as anything else. And you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. But like you say, without the good days, you don't know what the bad days, you don't know what the good days are. And it's yin and yang, and it's life, and it's how it is. And this is one of my first lessons I teach people. I'm like, look, don't think I'm going to get rid of your anxiety and it's going to disappear forever. I'm going to teach you how to understand it and manage it, and know it's coming, and know what to do when it does. And that's because it's life. It's what we've signed up for. And yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. But you put it much more eloquently than I did in my own language, which is a bit annoying.
Again, black and white.
This is the problem I have spending. We spend quite a lot of time together on Zoom calls and phones. And the number of times I'm like, my God, her English is better than mine. It drives me crazy. This is the one. If you could suggest for something for the listeners to do every single day, just one thing to do every day when they first get up or before they go to bed, what would that be? One little routine to put into their lives.
The little routine I would suggest is really grounding. Put your hand on your head. For example, when you make your tea or coffee, take a moment to really get into your body. And what I do, because I like singing, sing your favorite song in your head.
That's cool. So yeah, just get yourself. You taught me how to ground, and it was very important. I now do it before every session I do it before every podcast I do it first thing in the morning when we meet up for a chat first thing in the morning. It just, yeah, like you say, it centers you, it gets you ready for the day, it makes you concentrate. It's got so many benefits. So you have me sit on a chair, put my feet on the floor and all that sort of thing. Sorry, come on.
Well, I would suggest also when you think, put an alarm. Right now, I have an alarm every hour for something else I'm training myself in, just to break my habit. Put your alarm. And then strange times like 11:03 and 12:42 and 13:13 and 14:51.
And just remind yourself to do something.
The reminders a few times a day to ground. Can also be, when you're in company, I can imagine you don't want to put your hand on your head. Or you can share it and, hey, do you want to try it? But a lot of people think when I'm in company, like I'm here right now, well, I don't care. I just put my hand on my head and I feel that I sink in. When it's difficult, then put your attention on your butt and feel really how you sit. Like your butt is that pancake on the chair.
And get really sort of, and like you've said to me before, magnets on your heels, feel like your heels are really sort of deep into the ground. That really helps. And that's a great tip. It's the best thing you've taught me, bar none. That's the best thing.
And I want to also, from NLP view, you can tell yourself, I'm grounding. You can feel it, how you're sitting, or when you put a hand on your head. So you can tell yourself, I'm grounding. I feel my hand on my head. Yes, I do. Do I feel it? Ask yourself, do I feel it? Yes, I do feel it. So then you have the feeling and the hearing. And if you can add something to it, I would ask you to jump on right now and share it. But these are the two things, because not everybody is a sensitive person. Or you can, imagination. You can also use your imagination.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I love that. Okay, here's a good one. I love this one. I'm a bit of a time travel buff. What advice would you go back and give 20-year-old Manuela if you could get in a time machine? What advice would you give her?
Oh, not to be so insecure about what other people think of you.
That's my favorite.
When I look back now, I thought, what the heck? I was really, I was actually very insecure by then when I was 20, not in my profession, but with other things. And I was drunk all the time, drunk of the comparison. I was in the comparison funk. Comparison, how do you call it? You have a wonderful expression.
Yeah, I stole it from Noor Hibbert. Yeah, the comparison hangover. You had a comparison hangover.
Yeah, and that was keeping me away from a lot of things that I wanted to do. And I forgot that also these people, they started somewhere. And maybe you cannot imagine, I was really scared speaking in public, and I want to overwin that fear as well. And I knew that I had to do it by doing it over and over again. So when people see me now, you seem to be so confident. I said yes, because I trained hours and hours and hours controlling my own fear that came along. You don't see it on the outside, but inside, whoa. So
That's great.
see
I
it
love
as
that.
the
Yeah.
course. See conquering your anxiety as the course you consciously subscribe to. And you give yourself, yeah, I'm waving to a guy who waved at me. Give yourself permission to subscribe on that course. And when you have done A, then go to level B. And if you need it, go to level C. Give yourself permission to do as many levels as possible. So that's what I would advise my 20-year-old Manuela.
Okie dokie. And now one last question, because it's been so much fun, but we talk all the time. We could go for hours. I'm having all these fierce females on this month. And so what I'm doing is I'm giving them a chance to ask the next person who's going to be on the podcast a question. So, and it can be fun, it can be sensible, it can be whatever. So what question would you like to ask the next guest? I'm not going to tell you who the next guest is, but they know do you know what I mean? They'll know who you are. So what question would you ask them?
Okay, I would ask my next guest, what would you eat for $1 million that you wouldn't want to eat now? Because I really like food, and there are certain things when I look at the Jimmy Fallon show, like eating a bull's eye. That would be what. That would be something they would have to pay me $1 million to eat it.
That is a great question.
And I love that. What would you eat when that you really don't think about right now, but when you would be paid $1 million, you would do your best to eat it and swallow it and keep it in for 10 seconds.
Oh, that's a great. I love that. I love fun questions, and they're not going to be ready for that. It's a shame I haven't got one like from the brief that you're the first guest, so I haven't really got a question for you about that. But
there always has to be your first one.
Absolutely, and I'd just like to say thank you so much for coming up, because we talk every single day, and I get so much from you, and I know that people listening to this are going to get so much from you as well. And so that's why I wanted to invite you on, really, because you're someone who's opened up a lot in me, and I want a lot of people to hear that as well, really, and get to know you.
Thank you so much.
Whereabouts can people find out more about you? Where's the best place for them to come and find out more about Manuela?
Go to Instagram. I also have a website which is called Voice Power Online.
Voice Power Online.
But that's in transition. That's in transition, because that's all about the voice and leadership. And right now I'm in the transition. Meet your guides, and actually to have an easier, happier backup life. So I'm in that transition. But there's where people can find information about me when they're interested. And Bevan, I also have a question for you.
Oh no!
I want to learn to the runes. And I would love to set up a course with you, rune reading.
That'd be great. We should definitely do. You've sprung it on me, but we should definitely do that. What we'll do is, we can do it live like this. We can go through each rune maybe and say what they mean, and then start to learn spreads and how to read them. That'd be great fun. Yeah, I'd be up for that. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, and maybe in the summer we can launch rune reading. We have to have a time. We have to set a timeline in that.
Absolutely.
I'm so
it sounds
impressed
good.
The way you do. I love it. I love it. So thank you so much for inviting me.
No, anytime. I'll have you back anytime. So everyone gets to get on Instagram, look up Voice Power as your Instagram.
Voice Power Online.
Online is your Instagram handle. Voice Power Online. Loads of good stuff up there.
And it will change over to spiritual mindset,
which I love. I think that's great. Spiritual mindset is exactly what Manuela has got. So brilliant. But anyway, thank you very much for listening, everyone. And you can always get more from me, of course, on www.thewellbeingwiz.com/calm mind, where you can get your free book about how to worry less in 7 days. And tune in next week for another special guest who I'll announce, but I'm not going to announce it while Manuela's online, so she doesn't know who she's asking a question of. Who's going to eat something for $1 million? But no, thank you very much for coming, Manuela, and I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.